And welcome everybody. This is Don Giannetti, Lighting Essentials, Project 52 Pro System.com. And this is what I do on Black Friday. This is my 4th year. We do free stuff on Black Friday. I don't try to sell you anything. I don't have anything to sell. I don't do actions and, presets and stuff like that. I have books for sale at Amazon, but Amazon sells them to you, not me. So you can go and look at those over there. And at the end of this, I'll tell you just a little bit about Project 52, a tiny bit, 2 minutes tops. But before that, we're going to build a promo for a photographer. I'm a big believer in direct mail promos. They are effective. They are inexpensive. We don't send them to thousands of people. We send them to a very targeted small list of people. That list grows only as you leave people off. If you're in a big market somewhere like San Francisco or Dallas or Boston or something like that, if you're in a really big market and you have 200 to 250 names, that's a good list. You've done the research, you've got a good list. Back in the day, we would buy mailing lists of 10,000 names and we'd send out 10,000 postcards, which was really expensive. You can imagine what it costs to print them. You can imagine what it costs to mail them. It'd sometimes be a $2,500, $3,000 thing, but it was shotgun. So you really didn't know who you were sending it to. My background is a commercial photographer for 25 years. Then I owned an ad agency for 10 years. We were the 3rd largest ad agency in Arizona. And so I was the recipient of those cards at the time. And, all you had to do is go up and look at our website. This was during website. You look at our website and know that we're probably not interested in your pictures of girls or your pictures of cars or your pictures of the Wild West, but highly interested in tabletop, product, and medical, because that's what we specialized in. So we'd get all these different bizarre promos. What a waste of money for the photographer. Today, photographer researches that list, finds the list that they want to do, and sticks with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a 6x9 piece, because I think it's a pretty good size, oversized postcard to mail. You can get an envelope that fits 6x9, 5x7. I've used 5x7 in the past, but 5x7 just seems too small to me. 8.5x11 is too big. 6x9, great size, matching envelopes or decorative envelopes or whatever. I go to Amazon and get craft colored craft paper envelopes. They're inexpensive and they look really cool. All right, so let's go over and share the screen here. We're working in Photoshop today. And we're going to create a new item, and it's going to be inches. So we're going to create not 6x9. That's what we're going to end up. We're going to create 6.25 by 9.25. We're adding 1/4 of an inch overall. That's 1/8 of an inch on each side of our card. That 1/8 of an inch is called bleed. So we're going to design out to the edge of this document, and that will have our bleed. Uh-oh, I forgot to check the DPI. Let's do it again. Create new. 300 DPI.
Hey, Don.
Pixels per inch, PPI.
Don.
Sorry, so many years in the business, DPI just rolls off. It's actually PPI. So here we go. So now we have our 6x9 postcard with an 1/8 inch bleed all the way around. You can put the bleed in if you want by using your guides over here. Just bring that in just a little bit right there. And you can see where things are bleeding off. There's also in marketing what's called a safe area. The reason we bleed off is the image has to go off the page. So when the cutter comes in and cuts it, there's no little tiny fragment of white or something going there. So there's a safe area, and that would be about another, if you're using a good printer, about another 1/8 inch in. If you're using a really cheap, lousy printer, it could be all as much as a 1/4 inch in, but we're going to go with a good printer. This would be someone like Blurb or Overnight Prints or Modern Postcard, someone like that. So we're going to bring that other 1/8 inch in, and that's just to be safe. It's also where you have to end all of your type. Everything has to fit in that safe zone. If it's not in the safe zone, it can get cut off, like the last little, the last half of .com cut off, and it looks really terrible. Excuse me. I also think that there needs to be a little bit of breathing room. So I'm going to put this one in right about a 1/2 inch in, just a little bit of breathing room. I can go past this if I want to, but I just want to get a little bit of breathing room around it. I don't want to design right up to the edge. So there we go. So that's what I do. I get the guides in first, then I can design from that point. I've got a couple of different images that I've chosen for the postcard here. So I'm going to do a couple of different variations here. Show you what I think I would like to do. I also, by the way, I teach photography. For those of you who are first time here or you don't know me, I teach photography and I teach marketing and things along with it. I was a owner of an ad agency for 10 years, so I've sat on both sides of the table. Here's my book, and let me see your book. So I bring that experience to it. You got to figure out what you're going to show to which type of client. In other words, there are some types of clients who cannot simply look at your work, whatever that work is, and say, okay, well, I'm going to hire this guy to do whatever it is we want to do. That's not how it works. My agency, we handled mostly product. Pretty much everything that came out of our agency was product related. We didn't do food, but we did a lot of medical products. We did a lot of housewares, home items. And that was the kind of stuff that came out of my agency. So I don't want to see your fashion stuff. I don't care about it. And showing me a really cool fashion shot may not be the trick for getting in to see my agency. We just may not care enough. But if you showed a really cool tabletop or a really cool something that we were interested in, yeah, you're going to get a call. My agency saw new photographers every Thursday. Every Thursday. If you were a new photographer in town, you could come in at Thursday at lunch, because the lunch was like a catered thing for the staff and whoever came in. So you come in at lunch, bring your book, and it was a very informal, have lunch with the art directors, have some sushi, whatever, show the book, they get to know you a little bit. It was really, really a nice thing. And every Thursday, and we'd get people in, and we get people coming in the door with food portfolios or travel and portfolios or landscape portfolios. And we always showed them a good time and they could have sushi, but we're never going to hire them. So you got to kind of know who your market is before you start choosing the pictures here. So for this particular postcard, let's see what I got over here. Okay, I'm doing a vertical. So I'm going to do, this will be a sort of a card that I would send to clients interested in my motorcycle travels. So I do a lot of, I've written some books and things and like to ride my motorcycle. So this is a card I might send out to them. So the first thing that we have to do is figure out what images. So I've gone through and picked out some images here. And I want to create something very graphic. My work is very graphic. So I'm going to grab this image right here. Now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing it from a folder. So I've got a folder of open images on the right. I'm grabbing it from a folder. I'm going to drag it right into the window here. And Photoshop's going to size it for me. The item that I pulled in is way larger than the 6:9 at 300 DPI. Photoshop does a really great job and sizes it for me. Now you can see that Photoshop sized it to the dimension on the side. So if I wanted a full crop of this image, I'm going to lose the top and the bottom there. I don't want to do that. I actually want to make this one bleed. So I'm going to grab this corner down here, pull it out, grab that corner up there, pull it out and bleed it right off the top, just like that. And there's the cover of my promo. That's the shot I want for the cover. And it works for me because it's going to be kind of very graphic. It's going to be grab their eye kind of thing. And it works with the shot that I have that I'm going to put on the back. Now I have to add my name to it. You have to pick out where you want your name to go, because what you want to do as you're doing postcards is either have a very deliberate look to the way your name is positioned, or you want to have it in the same position over and over again. So I look at this now. Generally, there's two places I can put my name. I can put it up here. Do this. I can put it here. Sorry. We can see it here. We can see it here. These are pretty safe places to put it. Top left, bottom right, pretty safe. Occasionally we'll see it on the left. Occasionally we'll see it on top right. But this is where our eye goes when we pick up a page, kind of go right up here, and then it bounces right down here. So it feels very natural to put it there. Now, judging from the background here, as you can see, there's no way I can put my name across this image without having some sort of back to it, because type is going to get lost. So I'm going to choose my type. Before I talk about choosing my type, I want to talk about type a little bit so that you know where I'm coming from on type. There's different types of fonts. There's serif fonts. There's sans serif fonts, etc. We're going to pop over here and share this screen. One of the really fun places that I get a lot of fonts from is Creative Market. So if you go to Creative Market and you go to fonts, fonts is going to, that drop down is going to show you all the different types of fonts that there are. There's black letter. Those are very thick fonts. Sans serif means it doesn't have the little doohickeys at the top and on where the eye comes up and does a little thing. Slab serif, which are the little serifs are squared off. I'm going to show you examples here. Display, script, symbols, non-Western, and serif. Now, if you're looking for body copy for the words that you're going to use, maybe on the back side of your thing where you explain what you do, etc., you do not choose display fonts. Display fonts are for headlines. If you use a display font, you usually only use it once or twice. You want to go to either a sans serif or a serif font. If you like serif fonts, we'll click here so we can talk about serif fonts for a second. And these aren't just serif fonts, ladies and gentlemen. These are stunning serif fonts. So I don't know if that really is a part of it, but a serif is the little thing right there, those little things that come out. Those are called serifs. And if you use a font like that, that's a serif font. Sometimes the serif is actually built into the letter itself, like getting heavier as the C comes around. But you can see it over here, all these little decorative things. Those are serif fonts, and they make good body copy. Now, not all of these serif fonts make good body copy. Some of these are display fonts. So if you're looking for something for body copy, you may already have it. You may already have Times New Roman, for instance, is body copy. Garamond is body copy. Myriad, which I believe comes on your Macs, etc., is a good font for that. But you want to look for something that lays out well as text. Let's look at Sundays here. So when you examine the font, what you want to see is, does it lay out well for text? So here's some text with it. That doesn't look too bad. A little bit of space between here. See the W and the I and the T. See how the I tends to stick out because there's so much space between the W and the I and the T and the I, where the T comes down and we don't notice the space. That's called kerning. That would disqualify this font for me because the font looks like everything holds the same space. Look how spread out dull looks and how tight DAN looks. And then the G sort of hangs there. I don't want to get into real crazy font stuff, but look down here and see you can type something, see how the font lays out. And you can see all the different ways. Well, this is coming out very much tighter. This is coming out very much tighter. So that tells me that the kerning that is in here, the space in here, was done by the designer and is not built into the text itself, which is fine. So that could be a font. But like I say, you probably already have a font you like to use. Display fonts, on the other hand, is where you can have a little bit of fun. You go to fonts, and we go over to display fonts, and these are going to be serif, sans serif, slab, all kinds of different types of fonts in here. But you can see they're kind of like Kindness Matters, like this font. This might make a really good headline, or hire me because it's funky or whatever. But you wouldn't want to set 4 paragraphs of text in this font. So looking for fonts is the next thing that you do when you decide what you want to do. You choose your images, and then you go look for your fonts. I will tell you this. A good display font, or a font that you pick up here that could be used for not only a display, but also for text, also for a logo, puts you ahead of the game. And I'll tell you what the game is. The game is, most photographers that I know of go up and get a free Google font. It's free. They get it free. So that's really great. You get to have a font that looks like everybody else who went up and got a free one. Okay. Why don't you spend $16 and get Tommy? Okay. The matter that you're spending $16 is going to move you into a very small group of people. And you can do that. You can take Tommy, set your name in Tommy. That's your logo, and you're good. Skinny is one that I like to use. Athena is a really pretty one. Kiona, I love the way the K comes in. This could be a nice font. If you had K's in your name, like Aaron McKenzie, that could be kind of a neat little edge to your font. Bison is a really nice font. It's $28. So what? You buy it, you own it. You can use it on anything, and you can set your font in it. All right, so let's go back to our share here. So I know I have to use a color background for my text, because if I set anything like that's just not going to work at all. And not only would I not use that font, it wouldn't make any difference what font I used. It's just simply not going to work. So I have to put some color behind it, or I have to change the image. I can go back and drop the image down and put my name up above it here. That's a totally legitimate thing to do. Put it right up here. Great, I can do that. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want for this. I want this to bleed off, because I think the punch of this prickly cactus bleeding off the page makes it interesting. Okay. I'm going to take this little band here, call it band, and I'm going to change the color of it to something that more suits this cactus. Click on band, lock it up, option delete. I've got the blue. That's great. Now let's put my name down there and see how that works. Well, I don't like blue on black. I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to use edit, transform, scale. And using Photoshop's transform tools, I'm going to get it past that safe line. And like I said before, I'm going to use that little safety line as a good place to kind of work with. So I'm going to place it right in there. I'm right on that safety line, but well within the margin. And the black on the blue doesn't stand out. So I'll go over, change it to white, and now my name stands out pretty well. I'm going to lock these together. Lock them together so no matter where I move them, they're going to go together as I do that. I'm going to come just right to the safety line down here, and I'm going to leave it like that. So it's very simple, very easy layout on the front. We don't have to go crazy on this thing at all. That's the card. That's the thing. I think this card will be very cool at 6x9. That big cactus is going to like, oh, you don't even want to touch it because you're going to get all prickly. It's very sharp. And that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and go to the background. I'm going to make a folder called cover. And I'm going to take the cactus spikes and my name and the band and drag it down into cover. So that is my cover right there. Turn it off. I'm back to white. So my cover is located right here. I'm not sure I like that font. I'm not sure I like that font or not. Myriad is... We go with Butler. Ooh. Kind of has a little bit of a prickly. It's a little bit thin, so it reminds me of the prickles. I'm gonna go to transform, scale. I'm gonna pull that blue out. Oops, sorry, it's locked with the cactus spikes. There we go. And I'm going to pull that out just a little bit, get a little more breathing room on the left side. All right, I'll relock them. I don't want them moving around. And there we go. So we got the cover looking the way I want it, and it's simple. And it's something that all you have to do for your next card is simply replace that image right there. Just drag a new one in. Let's say we wanted to, I'm going to click here on cactus spikes, and I want to bring in this tree shot that I did. All right, I'm going to bring it over. Drop it right there. It's going to go right on top of the other one. Pull it out. Pull it out. Boom. It's right there. I can turn it off, go back to the original card. I can turn it on, make a new card. So it's really nice because as a coach, I hear a lot of times, I hear photographers say, well, I really didn't have time to get that done. Well, yeah, we set it up right. It doesn't take any time at all. You know, as you can see here, it's pretty quick, pretty simple. I, of course, would change the blue to a better color, something more representation in the image, which I can do by choosing one of these colors, maybe that really dark green right there. Go to my band. It's locked. There we go. So now we've actually pulled a color from the image for the little band at the bottom. All right, let's work on the back. On the back, I'm going to use this particular picture, and I'm going to have to make it fit because it's not going to fit because it's a horizontal. And I have to make it fit. So I'm going to take it all the way up here. It's way bigger. The original file is way bigger than this particular size that I'm using here for a back of the. So it'll be just fine. All right. I'm going to leave this down here because I got to put some copy on it. I got to tell them who I am. I got to tell them, remind them why I'm sending them the mailer. It's really, really important. We can't just send this postcard out and say, oh, here's a postcard, you're supposed to know what to do with it. We're going to have to, it's called, asking for the thing. It's a call to action. But at the same time, I don't like this white down here. I don't think the white looks good at all. So I may go ahead and do that image all the way down to the bottom. Oh yeah, I like that. Then above that image, by the way, I'm going to make a new group, new folder over here and call it back. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop that down, this layer down into this layer down into back. There we go. So that I can actually see what I'm doing. But I do want to have type down here. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Best way to do it for me is to add a new layer, change black to white at the foreground. Then I'm going to make this bottom from about 7 inches here over to here. I'm going to fill that with white. And then I'm going to lower the opacity of that white down quite a bit. Let's go 40%. All right, so now I pretty much got a place where I can move my type around and it'll be readable. The only question I have that's going through my mind is right here, where the white is a bump in the road that goes to the next. So it forms a tangent. So it makes it almost look like two different pictures. I'm going to drag the white down and see if that helps. It does. I like the bump in the picture. I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to move this down. I have plenty of room to do that. Right about there. And now I will put in my name. Let's see. I'm going to put my name all the way across this thing. So easiest thing for me to do, I'm going to grab scale. I'm going to scale this right across into the safe zone right there. So it's nice and big. Drop it down from the horizon just a little bit. I'm going to go for I want to let them know that I'm a photographer. But I'm only going to put that under my last name. I don't want it to be so big. Edit, transform, scale. And I'm going to bring it right up till it lines up with that G, right about there. Now it's too close to Gianetti. You can see the line, the spacing isn't good. So I'll drop it right down there. Put in my phone number or my website actually. www. Actually, you know what? I don't do the wwws anymore. I figure at this point, they either understand it's the web or they don't. I'm not going to argue with that. Nice. Down there. Right up from the safe zone right there. At the call to action, I'm actually going to put out right out here to match the cover. I had something coming into the cover. I'm going to bring it out here. So I'm going to go to a new layer. I'm going to grab my item, bring it right up here. Right about, let's just say it right about there. For now, I'm going to make it black. We'll figure out a color here in a second. And I'm going to put on here new work available. And I'm going to make it fit, transform, scale, make it fit right in here, just like that. And then that black layer is too big, so I'm going to move it up a little bit by transform, scale again, take it right up. Right about there. Now, black doesn't work for me. It's too heavy. It makes the top just want to fall over because it's so heavy. But I can pull some of this blue down here, or I could pull some of the wheat color from here and make it fairly nice. Maybe the dark brown. Let me try the dark brown. Or maybe even part of the asphalt down here. Let's see what the asphalt looks like. Ooh, that's not bad. Lock the layer. Much less heavy. Still don't like it. Let's try the blue. I like the blue better, but let's go out of this blue up in here. Let's try something like that. A little too light. There we go. Now it says the same thing, new work available, etc. But it's obvious that the colors work better. I'm going to bring that, drop that down here. So when I say new work available, that's a call to action. Come see the new work, etc. Down here, it's still not making me very happy. I'm still feeling that I don't like the black at all. So I could change the black to a different color. See if that's going to give it a little bit of fun. One of those rust colors in there. Guys, this road was a blast. And yeah, it's that remote. This road is heading out towards Great Basin National Park. And as you're leaving the little small town, I can't remember the name of it, it's north of Vegas. As you're leaving, you come around a corner and you see this ahead of you, and it goes way out there. When you get to the other side, you drop down and you get another one of these, just like 20 miles of straight road going down to the basin and up. There's 3 of those in a row. And I thought by the time I got out of the third one, I was ready to pull over to the side and just bash my head in because, you know, I hadn't made a curve in about an hour and a half. That works better. See, it softens that black and it gives us a little bit of color up there. And that ends up being a nice little postcard that I can send to people. And you can get them done at Modern Postcards, Overnight Prints. If you're not familiar with my website, Lighting Essentials, there's a totally free workshop there on how to get all your stuff ready. Lighting-essentials.com, and all you do is go to the, it's called Minimal Viable Brand. It's Minimal Viable Brand Photographers. What's the base level you need to start selling your stuff? You need a postcard, you need a website. Here's where you can go get them. Here's how you can do this, everything. It's just, there's a checklist there. When you have those things, you've got a real fighting chance. The people who don't have those things, it's very, very hard. It's so hard for them. I've seen photographers try to be photographers without websites. That's just not going to happen. I'm going to move Don Giannetti photographer down a little bit from that line because I think it's starting to feel a little claustrophobic. There we go. So now, what if you want to put two pictures on the back? Well, we're going to do that. We're going to create a little different card here. So I'm going to put that one away. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got time. Well, while I'm putting this one away, you guys got any questions?
Yeah, Don, this
Yeah.
is Matt Emick. What about space for, this looks great, but you've got to put the address and postage on here.
No, you never send a postcard naked.
Okay, you put
No,
an
it goes in a
envelope in
fold,
with the
goes in
stamp?
an
Okay.
envelope. If you send a postcard naked, it's going to get destroyed.
Okay,
I mean, it's, yeah, it, I wouldn't do that at all.
all right.
Don, this is Lee.
Yeah.
Question.
Uh-huh.
Do you save the image as in layers so that way you have already the format set up?
Yes.
And then you create another copy that you can flatten to create the
No,
card?
you just make a copy of this, flatten.
So once
And
you create
before
the
you-
format, you just save it and then you create another copy that you can flatten.
Yeah, I just would go save as,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it says save as what, I save as a TIFF or a JPEG, right? And then it asks me if I want to keep layers. I say no. So I would just name it like cactus promo one, .tiff. Okay. Once you get it as a TIFF, I'll show you as we finish up. Once you get it as a TIFF, you then have to turn it into CMYK, because right now we're working on the computer's RGB, so we'll have to do that last thing right at the end. So let's create a new one here.
Are you putting anything on the back side, or is this just a one-sided mailer? Or?
No, this is a two-sided.
That's the
Let
Okay.
me get it all. Okay, why is it doing that? Oh, hold on. I saw that was a dialog box. This is a two-sider under back. If we turn off the back, turn on the front, that's the front. Oops, that's actually not the front. That was one that we stuck on here. This is the one for the front.
Okay.
Without
So
that
just name
green. We had a different color. We were changing around. I think you came in late. So
one side. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fall in that this was on one side and the other side, and that
Yeah.
it's two different mailers. Okay, I got it now. Thanks.
There we go on the back. All right, so I'm just going to save it as untitled. Yeah, save. Okay. Now we're going to create a new one. We're going to make it horizontal or landscape. And we're going to do this more for people photography. So I already picked the image for this. I'm going to drag it over. More of a lifestyle type fun thing. And I'm going to make a folder so we can call it cover. All right, so we got this in the cover now. I'm going to do a little bit of branding on the front of this thing. So I'm going to go with my name. And I'm going to do lifestyle and portraits. Now, not portraits, portraits. Now the space between these two things here, this leading here, space between them is a little bit way too much. So I'm going to come over here to my paragraphs here, and okay. Are you guys having the same trouble I am having with, maybe you're not, with font Photoshop, changing my, up until this version of Photoshop, I put all my tools the way I want them. And every time I open up Photoshop, it's changed. It's gone back to some sort of default. And I cannot figure out, I've looked for it, but I cannot figure out how to say, look, when I set it up this way, can you just leave it the heck alone?
Lovely.
please?
Are you saving that workspace
Lovely.
after
No,
you
baby.
create it, Don?
What's that?
Are you saving that workspace once you get it set up so you can
Yeah.
just go back to the saved one?
Yep. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
try
not
something
really
different.
happy
I'm
with
gonna take
this.
these two guys right here and I'm going to transform them so they are the same height as my name. And then I will adjust them again. So here we go. Lifestyle, portraits, a little too big. All right, gonna add a little bit more. We got 16.13 there. I'm gonna go to, let's go to 18. That worked. So move this out into the road and move my name out to it and just kind of line it up like that. I think my name shows up well enough. Obviously white wouldn't work, right? That ain't gonna work. We'll just leave it with this. Lifestyle portrait's a little bit crammed in there. Yeah, just about there. So
Don, quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a rule of thumb on the size of the font? Should it be 18? Should it be no beyond size? Like no beyond 24 points or no beyond?
No. It's all, this is
24?
all visual. No, there's no rules.
There's no rules.
No,
Okay.
no, we could actually do something. I mean, I've seen photographers, I've seen graphic artists do things where, practically the entire thing is big block your name, right? Or you could actually do it where the picture comes out of block letters. You can do anything you want. As a person who consumes these things, I would tell you that the more obscure you make it, the more easy it is for me to toss it. And I want everybody to understand that 80% of these things are going to go, gone. Okay. So just understand that until you're going to hit them at a right time and they're going to save it.
Mhm.
The other thing is do not expect to send one of these out and get a job. That is not what these are for. These are for keeping your name, your work top of mind. Top of mind. There's no quid pro quo. There's no way I could say, oh yeah, send out 15 promos and you'll get this many jobs.
Mhm.
You may send out 15 promos and never get a single job. You may send out one and get 3. Just the way it goes. But when you're right for the client, you'll get the job. Greg is a photographer that I'm working with, Greg Kindred. We put together an email campaign to some of the ad agencies in town. We started it in June, which was kind of tough because everybody was in lockdown in June, but we started it in June. We tracked who opened it, which we can do through HubSpot. And then the art directors that did open it, we kind of doubled down with them. These were not salesy emails at all. They were really like, check out this cool picture, check out this cool picture. And then boom, 3 weeks ago, art director calls him. Didn't call him to say, hey, are you interested? They already chose him. They already told the client they were using him. They were just calling to find out how much it was going to cost. And it wasn't like, how cheap are you going to be? They just wanted how much it was going to cost. And he gave them a good price. And they said, okay, great. They're going to set it up. So they set it up. Some of you guys know, some of you guys from Project 52 know Eleanor, right? The Bay Area. She went to dinner. She went to dinner at a really nice restaurant. Noticed that their menus were terrible. Went back the next day and said, I'm a photographer and the whole bit. She's just completed the job, shooting for the new menu, just completed the job. 2 days shooting. A lot of money. like a lot of money. Like, I don't feel comfortable telling you what somebody else made, but believe me, if you made that in a month, it'd be a good month.
I have a quick question for you,
Yeah.
Don. The
Mhm.
kerning between your G and your I, is that
Oh, I would, all of this is, yeah, all this kerning, I'm gonna leave that out because it's too
okay?
tough, it's too long.
Right.
Yes, I would go through all of this stuff.
But it is okay. I didn't
Yes.
know if it was me, if you had, that's
No.
why I just wanted to see what a little space would be good.
I would probably come into this A. I'd move the N in just a little bit. Let me try a little bit more. Yeah, and I'd come into the I here, and I do the same thing, 75. Oops. Yeah, I would do that absolutely religiously with any kind of font that you get that's a display font. You're going to have to really look at it. Yeah, look at the distance between the N's and the A. Then the T, notice the T actually overlaps the A.
Right.
So you've got to, it overlaps the A, but then it has all this gap over here. So you're going to be moving things around. That's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit wonky for everybody here.
Yeah, I knew it was a little bit more advanced, but I just wanted to find out real quick if it was actually a little bit crowded where it would need a little bit more space.
Yeah,
If
you would
if
want
you
to
know
take
how
it.
to
And
do
then
it.
once you had it, you just save it,
Okay.
save it as a file. So you can just
Okay.
drag it in. All right, we're going to go to the back side now. And as I said on the back side, we're going to do 2 photographs. So I'm going to do this old photograph from a long time ago, which is obviously too small. Probably grab the thumbnail. And I'm going to come out here. Let me put my guides in again right there.
Hey, Don, real quick question. How many copies, when you send these out to get printed, how many copies would you get printed?
That's a great question. You should get about 25 more than your list, than your mailing list. And your mailing list should never be more than 350 names. Never. Right now, Greg is working with 125 on his list. So when he sends it out, he gets about 150 cards. Then you have extra cards because new people come on all the time, right? You may want to start them with card number 1. So you're constantly feeding that machine. But yeah, about 25 more than you have on your list. And getting 25 people on a list, 125 people on a list, is a lot more work than a lot of folks think it is. It's a lot of work. And that work pays off, but a lot of people don't want to do it because it's not fun. It's quite tedious. It's boring, but it's the only way. And I know someone's thinking, well, yeah, but I could go with agency access. Yeah, you can go with agency access. You and 11 million other photographers can go with agency access, and you can all be sending the postcards to the same, couple of thousand people on it. Am I poo-pooing it? No, not at all. I think it's a great deal to get you started. Get out there and get it. But the ones that pay off are the ones you dig for. That's where the gold is. The ones you dig for. So just keep that in mind.
Don, in your experience, how many photographers actually do this type of marketing?
Not nearly enough. But my mantra is 3 contacts a week. I'm sorry, 3 contacts a day. If you do 3 contacts a day, at the end of the month, you're probably in the upper 5%. Of photographers who are working, Lauren, who are making money, 80% of those people are doing this. Of the photographers who sit around and talk about being a photographer and have really cool YouTube channels and all that shit, they're not doing this because this isn't fun. This is real boring. Finding names. So on the back, I'm gonna take this picture, the blues and everything in here. I'm gonna take these 2 pictures. That's gonna be the back. I'm gonna put my name up at the top here. And now to Mark's point, once I have my name set, then it's set, and I'll go and grab that from a file and drag it in. So all that kerning and special character work that I did is set. But for this, we're going to use this here. We're going to add a little text here, and this is what a lot of people want to know. Don, what do you say? What do you do? What do you put on there? Well, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy at all. Put photography in. And unless you're, unless you're just absolutely clueless to the business, it's fairly simple to do. They want to know who you are, what you do, and why you should do it for them. So we're going to tell them that right now. Move that image down just a little bit. And now I'm going to go and grab obviously crop slight is not a good text for copy. So I'm going to use one of my favorites is Adobe Garamond. It's an old font, really old. So lifestyle and portrait and editorial portraiture in the greater, I'll learn to type, Dallas area. Call for portfolio review. Or send, or okay, so call for, or contact me through my website. Notice how much space there is between those 2 lines. That's because we left it over here at 40.18, which is not what we want. If you don't know, just go to auto. That's going to be pretty good. Usually it's pretty good. So we're going to leave it at auto, and we're going to put it right over here so it lines up with this D. This is what I see when I see a lot of stuff that comes out. This will be aligned differently than the other items on the page. What you want to do is you want to think of your page as having grid lines going vertical. So if you want to line this thing up, you could line it up with the G of Gianetti, so it all fit within there. That would be fine because we've already created a column up there. You could do that here. I'll do that in just a second and show you. It looks really nice. If we're not, well, then we're going to line it up to this D over here, and that's where we're going to line it up. You could do it to the right side if you want, line it up over there. That would be fine. But it's got to line up with something. It just can't like float freestyle because that's kind of sloppy out here. So let's go ahead, and then I'm going to go ahead and move this guide into the G here. We'll make this a little bit taller. Greater, see, greater goes over my safe line. So we're going to cut greater. And we can have that right there, which I actually like better. Okay. There we go. So as you see, when I move it, you see the little pink thing, that arrow that comes up. that gives us the distance between this and this. And if I come up here to photography, and I click on photography, come on, photography, wrong. Oh, there we go. It lines right up. You see the line come in? Photoshop does all the heavy lifting for you. And so then again, you've got your piece here, and you've got it in a new, did I make one? A cover? Oh, no, I didn't. Got to make a backside.
That is the back side.
And you've got everything ready to go. So if you want to change it, you can change it at any particular time. So that's the back. There. That's the back. That's the cover. All right. Simple. It's being recorded. It'll be up on the website. Now's a good time for questions. And don't worry about time. We have plenty of time. I will answer any and every question.
Did you throw your website down there underneath the call to action with the text?
Oh yeah,
there?
you're gonna put, yeah, you can put your website here. You're gonna put your phone number.
Okay.
You know. Oh, don't want to do that. Let's go back here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the lifestyle right there. I'm gonna double click it. Like that. That'll hold that font size. So when I grab the font tool again and I put it here, it'll be the same font and same font size that I had. So Don Gianetti, photography.com, 602-814-1468. That's all I have to put on there, which is going to confuse them enough anyway, because 602 is not a Dallas. Anyway.
You said you were looking for a new house.
What's that?
I said, you said you were looking for a new house.
Not in Dallas, buddy.
It says greater Dallas area. It doesn't
Yeah, well,
say
greater
where
would
that
have to
is.
include the Rocky Mountains. So it would be
Exactly.
greater as opposed to something like Shanghai. So it's a lot closer to Dallas than Shanghai is, but that's it. I'm not moving to another desert. I'm not moving where there's not mountains.
Don, will you include your email address as well? So you put the website, email, phone.
Yes, you would have your email address.
And the other question is, will you do vertical mailers or would you always do horizontal?
Oh, no, the first one I did was vertical.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you can certainly do verticals and horizontals, no problem.
Okay.
If you go with overnight prints or Moo, you can get rounded corners, which are kind of neat. So yeah, there's no rules to it. And all I do is a 6x9. Believe me, somebody out there's doing a 6x12 or a 5x11 or whatever.
What was the website that you said, mailers.com?
Overnightprints.com,
Overnight.
one word, overnightprints.com, and Blurb does them, and so does Moo, M-O-O. And then there's Modern Postcards. They do them as well. There's a company called 4over, the number 4over.com. And I really like them a lot because they have paper choices. Overnight prints, you can get any paper you want as long as it's the number one white sheet. That's it. That's all they have. So number one white paper, whether it's thick or thin, whatever. At 4over, you can get linens and you can get textures and you can get all kinds of wonderful papers. And their prices are super reasonable. Super.
So I sent the new mix to Kirk. He said my cake gun needs more.
Who else has a question?
But we sent this out.
Well, while you're thinking of a question, I'll just let people know. I run an online training for photographers. It's called Project 52. It's 52 weeks of assignments and many other things, which very holistic. In other words, we do assignments. We talk about bidding. We talk about promos. We talk about adding motion, to portfolios. We're constantly talking about the ways that photographers can be professional photographers. And I'm not talking about real estate, headshot shooters, definitely not talking about babies, portraits, weddings, really, really looking at commercial photographers. And I'm very, very proud of Eleanor, who I mentioned a moment ago, because a little over a year ago, Eleanor was only shooting sunsets and street shots, and today is doing really, really well. As soon as this job that she is just finishing up is over, she's jumping onto another job, which is I believe it's a catalog. So real work, and she's in the Bay Area where it's supposed to be really hard to get work. She's getting work, folks, and she's quite new. But her portfolio is astounding. Really, really beautiful.
I have another quick question.
Sure.
The font color, would you recommend that always be black or dark, light black? Would it be
For
a
what?
good idea to have color
what
like
color?
blue or red for font?
Oh
for text?
gosh, no. Lee, I probably could count on, hands and maybe a few toes how many times I've used pure black. I'll always pull it back. Pure black is too hard. So on like Don Giannetti here, I would probably pull this opacity back to about 80%. Because it's the photography. If I wanted it kind of a neat little designer thing, I could pull it all the way back to like 60%. And have a little bit of hierarchy there, stronger, a little less strong. But yeah, no, it's rare do I use full on black, because I want full on black to be whatever's full on black in this picture. I want it to stand out. I want the type to fade back a little bit.
Right.
And down here,
Okay.
lifestyle and editorial. Oh yeah, I would probably take that way back.
Right. Well, the idea is that the photographs stand out more than the text.
Yeah, and the text can be very harsh on the page. On a white card, it can be very, very harsh, and I want to mellow it down a little bit. I'm going to do the same things with the phone number here.
Lee, you remember?
In this one, you have the horizontal, you have landscape on the back, and you have a portrait on the front. Is that?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Nope.
I thought you had a portrait on the front. Oh, I see. It's just that when I look at it, I think I look at the center section. Okay, which brings to mind vertical. But it's okay.
Mark,
Got
you
it.
were going to say something.
When he was doing the picture with the road on it, he just kept trying a bunch of different colors in that. You just try different colors.
Right, for the back.
It's kind of a thing that I like to do. I like to pull the color for the font or the display font. I like to pull that from the image, because I can heighten the reds in the image if I choose a red. I can heighten the greens in the image if I choose a green, because and I'm pulling that, and I know the color is going to go with the image because it's in the image. It's part of the image already.
Mark, remember when we were in one of the Saturday's morning class, we were reviewing one of your beautiful images, and we pull a color from your image for your text. It was like a olive green, if I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, the cologne, but that was another example where we took the color from inside the image.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyone else have a question?
Yeah, Don, I'm looking at her arm, the woman in the bikini. You have it going off outside of the bleed lines. Would you normally do that, or is that just because you're showing us settings?
Well, that's the picture. The picture's already cropped that way.
Okay. Okay.
I cropped her elbow out of the picture because if there's space on the other side of the elbow, you'll follow the elbow out, right? I don't want you to follow the elbow out. So subconsciously you don't, because you can't see it. So you follow the hand to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in
Dan?
general, would you have part of your image bleeding off? I mean, obviously, you know, from the first example, you'd have images bleeding off the page, but would you ever like purposely crop an element like that to kind of want the viewer to see more, call you to see more of the picture, or would you always have more just background bleeding off?
There's no rule,
Okay.
no rule. On this one, I took it to the edge because I purposely cropped it. So if I didn't do that, and I took this picture, where is it? I took this picture, let's say I put it on top of the other picture, like this. So it's on top of that, and I moved it over, right? So I moved it over to the space zone. Now that cropped elbow looks really wrong to me.
Right.
It just looks wrong. So I will go ahead and take it out. And they're going to come in a little bit tighter and just the crook of the elbow. But I'm pretty certain that they'll get that. And that just gives me this here rather than out past the elbow. All right. Who else? I think Aaron had a question.
I do have a question. Yeah. How often do you recommend sending them out?
I kind of have a like an implementation strategy, and that is you should hit them with an email every month. Once a month, you should get them with an email. I'm out here. Here's a shot I did, you know, this week or last month or whatever. Here's a cool shot, that type of thing. Postcards, at least once a quarter, but every 60 days would be my best recommendation. And there are some people who don't do postcards, but they do something fancy like an 8-page magazine, and they'll only send that out once per year. But those people are usually editorial photographers, which are magazines, because editorial clients will hold it until you're ready. Ad agencies are constantly churning. And so, you know, getting them out there about every 2 months is a really good plan.
Okay.
So when you get your design the way you want your design, figure you're going to hold that design for at least 6 postcards to get you through the year. You don't want to change. You know, I'd even say 12. So for 2 years, the design seems the same. By the time you're bored with it, Aaron, they're just now figuring out it's you.
Right.
You know, like it's like our logo. By the time we're bored with our logo, our clients are finally going, "Oh yeah, that's Aaron." You know, so
you're essentially saying like keep the design exactly the way it is, swap out new pictures.
yes,
And just put it out
you could swap this text out down here, but that's the only thing you would change.
Right. Placement of the images, same kind of area.
If you could, yes. Now, am I saying lock yourself into like, you know, right there, right? No.
Right.
But 1 on the front, 2 on the back, 1 on the front, 2 on the back. Maybe you got 2 verticals on the back. You got to move stuff around a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But that sort of overall thing, so they get that drift that's what you're doing. The worst thing to do is to change it up all the time. That's,
Right.
you know, too drastic.
Would it make sense to like use the branding that I already have like on my website in terms of like here's my name as opposed to like creating something entirely
Yes.
new?
No, you've already got a logo for your website.
Right. Yeah.
Use that.
Yeah. Okay.
Don, when you send another postcard, would you send different images? Or would you send another batch of the same image?
Oh, no. You send to your list. If your list, you have 125 people on your list, let's say, you order 150 cards and you send 125 cards out. You hold 25 cards because you might use them as a leave behind. You know, the day you send cards out, you may pick up another name, send it, you know, really quickly. But you don't print all these up front. Don't go and print, you know, 600 or 800 postcards. Once that is out, then you start designing the next one. You send it to the printer and you get it back. The most you're going to, the waste is in that you're going to pay a little bit more for shipping because you're ordering 125 or 200 cards at a time. But shipping is not that much. It's $7-8.
Right.
It's not going to hurt you. And you'd only end up saving a little bit of that if you order them all. No, you definitely don't want to order them all at one time. This is like when you need them, get them. Yep.
So you put this in an envelope and your address, their address, etc.
Yep. Yeah. And I have, I use printing labels. I use clear printing labels.
Mhm.
So when I print them and I peel them off and I put them on the paper, they're clear. And I use well, very similar to this. It's very similar to this cardstock here that you're seeing, but that's what my envelopes look like. Craft paper. So for me, it's the kiss of death to send them in a white envelope. They already get 50 gazillion things in a white envelope. Send them something a little bit different. Send up, you can go to Amazon, you can get bright red envelopes or orange envelopes, yellow envelopes. Aaron, do you have a color associated with your branding?
I mean, it's like black text, and then there's like I have a small red, like a red. So yeah, I have like a red color.
There you go. So I would say accent that red by grabbing a red envelope.
Right. Yeah, that
You
makes
know?
sense. Yeah.
Do you hand write out their name and address on the envelope?
No,
or do
I use clear labels.
So you type, to get the clear label, you type it.
I
How
print
do you print
everything.
it?
You can import it over from an Excel spreadsheet. You can import it over from Word.
Oh,
or what
I
have you.
see.
So
So you're just making up,
run it and
so you have a standard mailing list and you're just printing it out on the transparency. Okay.
I know at least one photographer here in Phoenix who does hand address his envelopes. And he sends out to about 225 people and he hand addresses them. And he just addresses envelopes whenever he has time. He's got his list right there. So he just starts addressing them and stacking them up and then sending them out. I can't do it for two reasons. I just don't literally have time. And reason number two is my handwriting is so bad that I'm not sure the post office would understand who the hell I was sending it to. So, my wife hand addressed envelopes for me once. Yeah, that was.
How much did that cost you?
Oh, way more than I could
How
afford
much?
to have her do
How
it
many
twice.
times did you pay for it?
Because her rate went way up the second time, way up. But there are places, seriously, there are places you can send them to. They'll hand address them for you. Literally, you can send them off to places and they'll do it. There are mailing houses that'll actually, you give it to them and they'll print it right on the envelope. And that's something you can do as well. You can set up a Word, I think it's a Word file or it's an Excel. I know this much about Excel. I know a lot about everything.
It's a Word file.
Much, but you can
merge. It's a Word file and you merge.
You merge the Excel into the Word file. And then the printer will actually print it right on the envelope. So you stack your envelopes in the printer and it'll print them right on the envelope. Which is another great way to do it because then you can use a little bit of display font. You can use your logo up in the upper left-hand corner, all kinds of things like that. Yeah.
Is there a reason why you recommend 6x9 as opposed to like a 4x6 or a 5x7?
Oh, no, you probably came in a little bit late. The reason I said 6x9 is it's a really nice size. So it's very viewable. It's not too big to go in the drawer. Where if you get into something like 9x12 or something, 11 by whatever, they look at it and they go, I don't want to fold it, and they'll throw it away. So 6x9 gives me that. You could do 5.5 by 8.5, which is close enough to 6x9 to, call it jazz. But the 5x7 tends to get lost. And 4x6 just seems too small. Unless you send 4x6s as a unit, that you can do. That you can do. So Fong does that. She sends 4x6s of portraits in a little envelope, and then she ties the envelope with a ribbon and sends that out. It's an envelope with a ribbon around it inside an envelope. So when they get it, they pull it out. It's this real pretty little thing. They take it out, and then there's 4x6s printed both sides with her name on one side, web address on the other side. It's really a nice little thing, and it's very inexpensive. I mean, 4x6s are you know, pretty cheap at any of those printers.
Would you ever recommend sending something heavier if you're trying to target a certain group?
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, there's no limit to what you can do. I've seen people do.
If I sent out like acrylic prints, is it almost like too much? Is it something that they would want to hang on to, but then it's like kind of, that's
a good marketing question. The biggest photographer in Arizona actually lived in Flagstaff, not in Phoenix, Flagstaff. John Running was his name. He's retired now. But John would create one-of-a-kind prints, signed, he'd put all the the art information in there. This was you have print number 35 of a 75 print run, and he'd package them up really nice. This would be a package worth of probably, in those days, $30, because he was only looking for annual reports. 4 annual report jobs for John would be a living for most of them. I mean, those jobs were $25,000 to $50,000. He's just looking for 4 clients. He'd send them out, and he'd send 100 out, and he'd generally get between 3 and 5 gigs from it.
Okay.
And some people never even send him back a note saying thank you. Nothing.
So higher end clients definitely put more into your packaging and more into your
absolutely
into the effort.
And you know who they are because you send out your emails and you check your stats and go, oh, look, Bob over at Bob Smith Advertising, he's hitting my email. He's clicking through to my website every time. Yeah. You send him out a nice promo. Boom, check your stats. Oh, I sent him the promo. He checked out my website. That's why you got to keep your website fresh. Bob keeps coming back to your website and it's the same stuff you had there 8 months ago. He's going to stop coming. You're always shooting. Churning. So Bob is really pretty interested. You look at Bob's advert, you've already done this. You know that your work, he should be using your work. It's not that you want to work for him. He should be using your work. You understand the mindset? The fact that he's not using your work, that's a problem for him, and you're there to solve it. Okay? It's a mindset. So at that point, you can pull out some stops and go, yeah, I'm going to send him a 5x7, acrylic print and in a frame, maybe because you've done some research, you've checked him out on LinkedIn, whatever. You find out Bob is a hot air balloon enthusiast. He's got a balloon. He flies in Albuquerque. He's always talking on LinkedIn about his balloons. You get a really cool balloon shot. And you send it, hey, I know you love balloons. What do you think of this balloon shot? And that's how you get in the door. It may not get you a job. There's all kinds of other things. Personality is involved in whatever, but you're going to get in the door with that. Okay. Absolutely.
And Don, something else that people can do, if they go to Blurb, you can order a sample pack that has all of the different types of paper that they print on and the different print qualities.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $7 or $8, but when you get your first order from them, they give you a discount code that comes with that to take the price off. So if you wanted to see what the different paper and print quality looks like, I don't know if other people besides Blurb do it, but Blurb does.
4 Over does it. They must have got new paper because they automatically sent another paper thing. So they sent me this, the Majestic sample book, and every page is a different paper. There's the foils that they use and all these different papers. Suede velvet, which pretty much sold me. This feels, it's paper, but it actually feels like suede. It's the coolest thing I've ever felt in my life. So I'm going to do a print run on this paper. 16-point suede card, soft velvet lamination. It is so cool. So they've got all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so here's a 32-point cardstock. That'll stand up by itself. It's really thick. You can't even bend it. So yeah, 4 Over will do that. And you can really make your postcards stand out by just choosing the right paper. you know, a little bit, something a little bit different. Believe me, you send somebody a postcard on that paper, it's going to feel better than if you send them from overnight prints, because overnight prints is this, you know, just, it's an aqueous coated white paper that feels like everybody else's. However, that's going to cost more, not an arm and a leg by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to cost a little bit more than overnight printing, overnight prints. What I don't want is for people to think that there's some sort of money hanging them up. You know, I don't want anybody to say, oh, I can't afford to do this. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can afford to do this. Who else? Anyone? Well, all right.
This is going to be
if you're-
recorded. This is recorded, done, right?
Yes. If you're at all interested in Project 52, it's project52prosystem.com. Check it out. We're enrolling right now, start in January. You'll make every nickel of your investment back before you even leave the class. So it's a really, really good class. We keep them really, really small. I'm only enrolling 15 people for this next semester starting in January. And it's really great. Check it out. And if you're interested at all, really interested in at 1 p.m. Pacific today, we're going to have some of the current members on Photo Talk to answer questions, to present what they've done, talk about what they've done. And if you're interested, get it right from them. They'll let you know. I think Lee will be there too. I know Mark will be there. So.
Oh, I'll be there.
Well,
Actually, I'm going to be in the Photo Talk, and then I'm going to be the one at 6:30,
okay.
the last one.
Very good.
So you will see me 3 times today. Yay!
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. To the new folks here, Aaron and we have 2 Aarons, Aaron Kress and Aaron Frazier. We've got Derek. Welcome, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And what is that? I can't see her name. Is it Trisha?
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed it, Trisha, and got something from it.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and see you all on the other side. Take care.
You also, Don. Talk to you later.
Later, Don.
Bye.
Bye,
See you
Don.
then.
Thank you.